And who else to start with other than the second year starting quarterback out of BYU, Zach Wilson. I'll get into my thoughts after you do. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this is a key year for Zach Wilson. I think obviously everyone can agree that it really wasn't an ideal rookie season for Zach Wilson. He threw 9 touchdowns along with 11 interceptions. His stats weren't necessarily they weren't good. They weren't good. And he threw for 2,334 yards and a 55.6% completion percentage. But when you think about it, even though his stats were very bad, it is so, and what so many people fail to realize is the context of the situation that he was in. He was one of the most pressured quarterbacks in all of football last year. He had next to 0 weapons. I believe like I saw a stat where his top 3 receivers, which I believe for the year were supposed to be Jameson Crowder, Corey Davis, and Elijah Moore, were on the field together for a combined 12 snaps, I believe. He had the worst ranked defense in the National Football League because of, again, the defense was also heavily injured. And he really and he had a rookie coaching staff. He had a rookie head coach and he had a rookie offensive coordinator in a system that is very typically hard to kind of grasp. And Zach Wilson was never really seen as that kind of guy who's going to step in and be that immediate great quarterback. He's needs to be nurtured. He's a bit of a raw prospect. And it really showed kind of in the early stages that he was one of the he was raw. He wasn't exactly ready for the NFL and he struggled early on. But we saw after he got injured, I believe, against New England the first time, he came back and was much, much better. Threw down the stretch 9 touchdowns, 2 picks, including 0 picks in his final 5 NFL games. So really, especially with the amount of more weapons and much more protection and even defensive support that he's going to get, there's no reason he shouldn't take a monumentous leap in a second year in a continuous situation. But definitely a crucial year for him.
Definitely a crucial year for him to indeed. I want to just understand, I'll get into my analysis right after I bring up this point. How crucial is the second year for a quarterback? Because this season, this second year for a couple of quarterbacks, we saw Joe Burrow make the Super Bowl. We saw Justin Herbert miss the playoff for the second time, but he's kind of a unicorn in a sort that he's been on a bad team and he's been excellent. Then we saw Tua Tagovailoa and Jalen Hurts, who were both not great, but are still given a third chance. Would you say it's a 2-year term for a quarterback or a 3-year term? If Zach Wilson fails this season,
it really depends. I think if he shows up and shows no noticeable improvements and the Jets are in a top 5 position, I think questions definitely have to be asked, especially considering the amount of help he's been put under. But if he puts up similar stats, let's say, for example, to a Tagovailoa or a Jalen Hurts, especially with his upside, I don't see any reasons why they couldn't go with him for a year 3, especially if they aren't in a position to get a premier quarterback next year. And another name that you didn't mention was Josh Allen. I'm not saying he's going to be Josh Allen. Don't misinterpret that at all. But I'm just saying that the Bills did stick with Josh Allen after a second year, after he put up bad stats as well. And I know, again, he's a unicorn. I'm not saying he's going to be Josh Allen, but what I'm saying is that the second year isn't the end all be all as some make it to be. I think it's a very important year, and I think he should definitely show improvement. And if he doesn't, I'm not going to say, oh yeah, well, he's the next Josh Allen. We should wait another year. But I think he should show improvement, definitely. But I don't think he needs to be in that Herbert or Burrow class immediately, but definitely improvement is necessary. I didn't say he was Josh Allen because I know that's what you're thinking. That is the one thing I'm emphasizing. So don't use that against me.
Stop using Josh Allen.
I'm not saying.
Stop using Josh. No.
I'm not.
Let me finish. No more. This goes to every fan that watches this video. We're going to post this everywhere because I want this to be seen. We are not using Josh Allen as a blueprint.
That's not a blueprint.
Failing rookies in their second year.
No, but that's what that's not what I'm saying. But here's the thing. He should be better than Josh Allen was in his second year. Because in his second year, Josh Allen was also, he was better. The team made the playoffs. But
Josh Allen led the team to the playoffs in the second year. He wasn't good, but
he wasn't good. He wasn't good. I think Zach Wilson has more weapons than Josh Allen did in his second year. And obviously doesn't have the upside, at least his physical traits that Josh Allen did. So he should probably be better. But I'm using the Josh Allen example to kind of just show that a second year quarterback won't necessarily take a Josh Allen level leap, but they can still improve from their second year to third year. It's not like they just go from first year to second year, and if they don't improve, it's like, oh, that's their ceiling. That's it. They still have room to improve.
I
That's the point
understand
I was
that.
trying to make. I'm not trying to use Josh Allen's trajectory as an excuse for Zach Wilson to have another
No,
season.
I know that's not what you're
rookie
trying
year.
to do, but what it sounded like you were doing is saying, what's it called? From second year to third year, he can make that Josh Allen leap because Josh Allen did that.
I'm not.
That's what it sounded
I'm
like.
not saying that. I'm saying that just because second year is very crucial, but I'm saying that a lot of people seem to think that, oh, if they don't take that big year two leap, then that automatically means that they're a bust or they've reached their ceiling. And I'm just trying to say that, and Zach Wilson isn't a Josh Allen, but he's still a very high potential quarterback, and I think he could definitely take a big year two to year three leap. Obviously, no one should put the Josh Allen expectation on him. He is an anomaly, clearly, but I think definitely he should show improvement. That's not just because he can make a big leap from year 2 to 3 doesn't mean he shouldn't make improvement year 2, because I think as we go into obviously the weapons that he's going to have this year, it would be frankly a huge disappointment for him to not show any improvement.
All right. Now that we're past that stage, I'm going to give you my analysis on Zach Wilson. And if you're on our TikTok, you probably saw my Zach Wilson review. It was kind of brief because I had to do two other quarterbacks in the video. But overall, I think Zach Wilson's just volatile. I think he can be excellent, but I think there's way more downside that isn't talked about enough because of his last stretch in the end of the season where he was throwing the ball particularly short. And I know the weapons were Jeff Smith's of what's not, but there was a reason that he didn't throw any interceptions in those games, and it's because he did not try to throw the ball into tight windows in those games. He was very, very, very conservative. So we're getting that out of the way before we get into what I'm saying for Zach Wilson is he's projected as that sort of gunslinger Aaron Rodgers type guy. That's how he was projected going into the league. And when he tried doing that, he just wasn't that. He was bad. He was really bad. And he had one good game against Tennessee. He got injured. He came back and he worked as a conservative quarterback and he played better, but he still wasn't that good. Now, that's not to say that he won't take a leap because the situation, as you were explaining, was absolutely atrocious. And I think now what they've done, especially on the offensive line, now that it's healthy and now that they have Mekhi Becton back, which is going to be massive, that it's going to be better. Weapons as well. Garrett Wilson we'll get into later. It's going to be massive for him to have those guys. But I think people sell short how horrible Zach Wilson was as a gunslinger, do it on your own type of guy. And it might be because of rookie coaching staff. It might be because he had nothing. But I just want to put this out there, surface level, no little context to no context. Zach Wilson was a bad gunslinger.
Well, yeah, I think definitely he wasn't good as a gunslinger. I think that's kind of like the obvious point. But I think at the same time, I think we saw definitely a lot of games where he had actually very good deep balls that were actually drops. I remember specifically an opening day game against Tennessee. Not Tennessee. What am I saying?
Carolina.
Against Carolina, where he threw like a freaking 50-yard bomb perfectly into Elijah Moore's hands, which was dropped. And he also had a couple of, I think he had like a decent bit of, I think he was probably the quarterback who suffered the most from drops in the entire National Football League. I know people say, oh, well, every quarterback suffers from drops. Yeah, but they're not all on the same level. And I think definitely as a gunslinger, he wasn't very good. But I think at the same time, again, when you're such a raw quarterback, and you're put in such a complex scheme as is the LaFleur scheme, it's just it might not work immediately, especially when you don't have the tools necessarily to succeed in it. And I agree though that he wasn't ready for that, and it was the right decision to kind of get him familiarized with the quick game. But I think as one of the points that I really want to refute and is disagree is that Zach Wilson is just a gunslinger quarterback. He isn't a Matthew Stafford like quarterback. I think he isn't, again, another great quarterback I'm going to compare him to that I'm not saying he is at all, is Aaron Rodgers. He's in that mold where his amazing velocity on throws, like that arm talent is just indisputable. His amazing velocity on throws makes him kind of a great fit in the LaFleur kind of scheme because obviously Rodgers coached by Matt LaFleur. Jets have Mike LaFleur, his brother. And it's kind of built for that scheme where Rodgers, a lot of people don't like to talk about it. He's not necessarily even a gunslinger quarterback anymore. He's a quarterback that kind of thrives in that kind of short and intermediate game, but people think he's a gunslinger because he throws it deep and can throw it like 70, 80 yards a few times, which obviously he can. but he actually had less air yards than a lot of quarterbacks, such as Tom Brady, who many considers to be like a check down merchant. So I think really why Rodgers succeeds in that scheme is because he's very smart and he's got great velocity on those short to intermediate throws over the middle and outside the hashes. So anyway, I'm rambling on. We should probably move on from this segment. But I'm just saying is I think the system actually works pretty well for him, but I think he needs to obviously improve his footwork, which from what I've heard, it's improved. And he has to improve the mental side, which I think that's what coaches have really been raving about the most, that he's really understands the playbook now. But I think that should be it for the segment. I think we
Yeah,
got to move on. But
I'm just gonna get in my final word. I'm not gonna go crazy with anything. I'm just gonna put out there. I think Josh. I think Zach Wilson is gonna have a better season this year.
oh,
But
definitely.
I put this out there to Jets fans not to expect too much. I was in the same situation last year with Tua Tagovailoa. I went out there and said Tua's gonna be amazing this year. We're gonna go 11-6, and it didn't work out. So regardless of what you think your organization did for him, because I thought the Dolphins were doing great by Tua. I thought when they brought in Will Fuller, when they
well, yeah, but we get it. We get it, though.
that was
Yeah.
pretty much all they did. But I don't know why I thought they did great by him. But
yeah.
yeah, that didn't work out so well. But year 3, Zach Wilson needs to brush up on a couple things. He's thrown some dumb picks, not great as a gunslinger, well, not great, terrible as a gunslinger. And while he did reform his intermediate game, I want to see him making those throws that you want from a number 2 overall pick before
Yeah,
I can go and say that this team can compete for anything. So that's my final take on it.